The underlying message that I'm trying to promote here is that Kids Ability has allowed me to cope with my cerebral palsy in ways that would not otherwise be possible. Ask any child, any family, and they'll echo those sentiments about how it has changed their life for the better and taught them the skills to better themselves, their families, and their lives. Just take one look around the center today, and you'll see all the proof you need. Those physical developments can be learned through countless hours of hard work by all involved, everyone enduring a lot of pain and heartbreak along the way to overcome their own setbacks and barriers and a Herculean sense of satisfaction to do what others told them couldn't or wouldn't be done. I'll show you, I thought. Okay, maybe in my case, a small portion of this was done to impress a girl, but that's all part of living a normal life, right? And therein lies the secret. I'm sure many of us know the formal mission statement of Kids Ability, but to paraphrase it in my own words, from the perspective of someone who's lived it firsthand, it's all about getting the kids and their families to lead normal, everyday lives. I suppose I'm not so different after all. And though I grew to realize this, I was the last one to have such an epiphany. You all knew it long before I did. You believed in the cause, the center, and countless people, just like me. But there's something much more than that. Much more than the physical trials and tribulations that we had to overcome. I want to talk about the intangibles, the things you don't see until they've already happened, the psychological and emotional changes that are felt by all the families involved with the center when they realize that they are not alone and everything is going to be okay. To illustrate this point, I want to take a moment and talk about something that we have in all of us, our own story, each for a different reason, about why we decided to become a Rotarian. The 2 points of Kids Ability and being a Rotarian, for many of us, are very intertwined. My experience with Rotarians goes back almost as many years as I do, to the days gone by when they would pick me up and take me to the center to enjoy the various activities. Admittedly, like many prospective members, I didn't really understand what you were all about until I started attending the meetings. That began for me in 1995 when I served as Easter Seals Timmy for the year. That role for me, not unlike what I'm doing here today, involved going around to the various clubs within the region and sharing my story with you. Well, that may not sound like much for a 13-year-old boy who's incredibly shy and awkward. I was incredibly nervous as I tried to stammer through a message from the heart. Now it's one of those definitive moments that I can look back on and say with certainty that being involved with Kids Ability and Rotary changed my life. And that is a saying I don't use casually. It gave me confidence, motivation, leadership, and social skills, forming the groundwork for who I am today. This inspiration and encouragement from the organization, its employees, from volunteers, and from supporters like yourself allowed me to transition from someone who was unsure of himself, his abilities, his purpose in life, questioning whether or not I would ever be a productive member of society, to the successful business professional that I am today, working as a financial planner for TD Waterhouse. Hey, in good and bad markets, it beats selling pens. We all have our reasons for why we joined Rotary, but if I may be so bold, let me tell you why you did it. I mean why you really did it. You did it to see the ambulatory child whose parents were told that they would never walk, take their first steps. For the deaf child to smile, because you know that says more than words ever could. For the autistic child to invite you into their world, a place that others seldom get to see. And for me to recount my story, just a child who realized his dream. I talked about passion when I first began today. If I can leave you with one piece of advice, find that passion, and please, please don't ever let it go. As I said, I'm passionate about Kids Ability and the work that we do as Rotarians, and I apply that same passion to my work at TD Waterhouse, working to help people achieve their own goals, hopes, and dreams, financial or otherwise. Indeed, I can draw many parallels between the work that I do and the help that I have received from Kids Ability and Rotarians alike. I'm reminded of this each time a prospective client finds their way into my office. Perhaps they're getting close to retirement and are unsure about what that journey will hold, or they've just had a child of their own and want to make sure they get off on a good start for that child's future. Either way, my job is to hold their hand and give them some answers in search of what they're looking for, guidance. and putting a plan in place to make sure they get there. If this sounds familiar to the spot that my family and I were in 27 years ago, that's certainly no coincidence. It's why I made a conscious decision a couple of years ago to do something I really love, helping people. And as the saying goes, if you're fortunate enough to do just that, then you never have to work another day in your life. For all of this, I can't help but feel as though I owe an immense debt of gratitude. That debt of gratitude to my parents, and to all involved at Kids Ability, and to you as fellow Rotarians for the help that I have received, no matter its scope, quite honestly can never be repaid. But I'm certainly going to try. I'll embark on that quest through my work at Kids Ability, hoping to serve as a mentor to other children who face many of the same issues I dealt with just a few short years ago, while continuing to promote the center and all the good work done by all involved. Through my work with the Rotary Club of Waterloo, helping to organize events such as the Fun Fair, and giving back to our community in any which way that I can. And finally, through my interactions with all of you, personally shaking the hand of as many of you as possible to express my appreciation. Myself and my family is just one small example of the millions of lives that you've touched through Kids Ability and many other efforts of which Rotary is involved. Though my story isn't even interesting enough to fill the 20 minutes I've been allotted, the impact of these organizations would take more than a lifetime to tell. And that's what passion is all about. Easy to identify, but difficult, if not impossible, to accurately describe. I know we all have it, or none of us would be here today. Remember that passion, what brought you together with Rotary in the first place, the notion that you can make a difference. Just looking at me today and what I've managed to become, a success story, and now a Rotarian, should reaffirm exactly that. Thank you.
Any questions for Jason? You're a member of the Waterloo?
I am.
Okay. That's fantastic.
Waterloo, I often get that one. They set me up with their food spread and didn't let me out of the university because I didn't know how to get there and find the elevator. You know what? It's stuck.
There's a strategy we could try. Lock all the doors at the terrace and just go get all the guests to go to work. Well, Jason, what an inspiration. That's fantastic. Thank you very much. On your behalf, we've made a donation through Polio Plus to immunize 125 children against the crippling disease of polio. So
wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fraser. Thank you for having me.